Lucian can feel a bit like a mage sometimes rather than an AD carry, but in this video we're going to focus on the bot lane and everything you need to know in a short guide that you could watch even during Champion Select. So Lucian is one of these AD carries that plays more like a mid laner. He's got amazing kiting, absolutely insane. He's ability based for pretty much everything, strong lane phase, high skill cap, and he is definitely a duelist. The downside is you have very short range compared to the other AD carries. You've got kind of weaker scaling because of that as well. And the high skill cap is also a downside because you can have zero impact. Suppressive attack has the best synergy for your keystone. You're easily able to stack that up with your passive, and then it's going to make everything do more damage. This variation of your runes also gives you more healing with auto attacks and with your abilities. For skill order, you max your Q for most damage, your E is going to lower the cooldown and mana cost, and then finally your W. Let's talk about some of the items that you can get. So for mythic items, Kraken Slayer is a great all-around damage option, giving your attacks true damage and making it really useful versus tanky teams. Gale Force is another one that provides a bit of burst, mobility, and the extra dash with the item activation also gives the execute potential because it deals more damage to low health players. Outside of our mythic ones, you've got Essence Reaver, which you can continuously proc the added on hit damage as well as restoring mana, and Infinity Edge is really good with that because it's a large damage upgrade, providing a lot of AD, crit chance, and that crit damage. You can also grab a Collector. This sexually 30 in a burst is really good if you're snowballing, but Navori Quick Blades as well is pretty good. It provides a lot of AD and ability haste and reduces his cooldown of his non-ultimate abilities. You've got things like Mortal Reminder, which apply grievous wounds, which can be really useful to cut healing. And then if you're against tanks, you can either get Lord Dominic's Regards, which is more damage against targets with more max health than you, or you can pick up a Blade the Ring King, which is lifesteal, but also good versus tanks with the percentage damage. For defensive items, you'll normally be looking at a Guardian Angel or Mercurial Scimitar. Guardian Angel is really good versus Burst or Assassins, and Mercurial is really good versus crowd control. So against easier lanes, you're going to have a massive advantage during that lane phase. These champions cannot get away from you when you dash in, and you have way more damage too. You want to make sure that you push your advantage and you trade often, looking for those kills and building that lead. Against hard lanes though, you'll actually feel your range disadvantage way more, where they'll likely poke you down before you can even get close, so you want to avoid that and try an all-in before. Champions like Jinx as well are a bit different, where the lane isn't too bad, but they're massively going to outscale you, so you need to punish them super hard early before it's too late. In terms of supports, with enchanters, they bring more poke damage and will help you all in and trade more often. So for example, one Bard stun is enough for a kill normally, or a Nami E has really good synergy, plus she can heal you back after trades. The Brawl's passive is notoriously good with Lucian because it's so easily stacked up for the stun, and Thresh has a ton of crowd control himself, so these engage for you to follow up with the damage afterwards. So the key to laning as a Lucian is trading or fighting often, and to do that you mostly want to wait for the enemy to use their main damage ability on a minion and then fight so they can't fight back. You want to make sure though that you always use auto attacks in between every ability, or you're not going to have enough damage, especially early game, and you should mostly use your W when you are going for that kill. It will eat up your mana early and you're absolutely useless without mana. Ideally, when you want to fight early game, you will auto attack, use an ability and another auto attack with your passive to proc the pressy attack straight away, and then everything after that will be doing more damage. During teamfights, a common mistake is actually holding your E, your dash, to only escape, but you need to use it as part of your combo for damage, so dash backwards or to the side to start fights when you can. Your ultimate can be used to snipe low health enemies, but it's actually just as good used up close and personal, so don't always hold it, use it when other abilities are on cooldown, just basically part of your rotation. Because he is so mobile as well with the dash cooldown reduction, you can dash into fights and kill the priority target and then dash back out again. Just make sure that you know you can kill them in that first burst. Finally, some tips and tricks. Now, first of all, your E's cooldown is lowered by your passive shots, and that is why you should always try to lead with your E first when you're fighting or doing an objective. By the time you've used your Q and W afterwards, your E will be back off cooldown again. You can also dash and even a flash while channeling your ultimate, so if somebody flashes away from them, just easily follow them with one of these. You also always want to mark your enemy with W before using your ultimate. Each bullet will give you a speed up and make it much easier to keep hitting them for the whole duration. Now you should know how to dash around as Lucian. Good luck on the Rift.